Hello everybody, this is Elizabeth Moss, and I am doing my case study analysis on Chapter 23. It's a documentation in discipline, the case of the missing portable potty. So we'll go ahead and get started. Mr. Guerrera is the main stakeholder in this case. This takes place in 2003 and 2004 in Santa Fe County, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Mr. Guerrera is a worker for the county in the land use department and was accused of ordering a portable potty for personal use and charged it to the county. What ended up happening was the financial director was going through, or the assistant financial director was going through invoices, noticed a suspicious address on one of the invoices, that it was a city address, not a county address, or that it shouldn't have been delivered to the city. It was for a portable toilet. And got suspicious, calls the company J&J Portable Toilets Incorporated, and finds out that an employee named Mr. Guerrera made this purchase and he wanted it billed to the county. He looked at the address and found it's actually Mr. Guerrera's personal address. So he talks with Mr. Guerrera's supervisor. They call J&J again and speak with a woman named Rita Olmos. Rita Olmos is the woman who took the initial order. And she says that yes, Mr. Guerrera, or a man named Mr. Guerrera, called in, made the order, and it was to be attached to a different order from the county for a second portable potty. They looked up the second invoice, and it was made by a man named Tom Bender in the Public Works Department. They thought this was definitely suspicious because the Public Works Department is in a different area in the county than where Mr. Guerrera works, which is in the Land Use Department. So they meet with Mr. Guerrera, and they talk with him about it. First they call Mr. Bender and check with him, and he says that no, he only had the one invoice, he didn't authorize a second. So then they meet with Mr. Guerrera. He states that he did order a portable potty. His house is being renovated, so he and his wife would have something to use, and he did not intend for it to be billed to the county. He wanted it to be billed to him, and he would pay it. They said that there's going to be an investigation, and while this investigation's happening, he's going to be placed on leave with pay, and after it's over, he could be facing, he could lose his job. And so he gets upset, goes to J&J, asks them to write him a letter saying that they made the mistake, Miss Olmos, and she refuses. He gets upset, pays the bill, and then leaves. So while this investigation's happening, the investigation is being led by Miss Carla Quinn, and she finds several interesting things. First, that there was some confusion with the order number, or the order forms. There were two numbers written on Mr. Guerrera's form, and one of them was for the number for Tom Bender. The reason there was a little bit of confusion, one was written above the other. The numbers look similar because they were both placed from county work numbers. So Mr. Guerrera placed the number on placed the call on his his work phone. And the work numbers looked similar. So that was one clue she had, that maybe this was a mistake. The second is that Ms. Olmos stated on her affidavit she had prepared 20 to 30 different orders that day. And it was conceivable to Miss Quinn that she may have made a mistake. That Miss Olmos may have made a mistake and just put the two orders together since they were both from the county. So, all that being said, she also looked at the policies for the county on how they keep records, and how they do purchasing orders, and basically only authorized individuals are allowed to have purchasing order numbers. Mr. Guerrera was not authorized. He would not have had easy access to a purchasing order number because if he had called in to ask about it, a supervisor would have been notified, or somebody who did have authorization would be notified. The two departments aren't located near each other, so he couldn't have gone over and gotten one. I couldn't have gotten it through the mail. And then also the passwords are protected, and changed every so often. He shouldn't have access to that. So there were several things that indicated that, this could be a mistake. But she ultimately concluded that she doesn't have proof enough to say that, yes, he did do this. So she recommended at the end of her investigation that he just be written a letter of reprimand, which I think was step 1 in their disciplinary process. She takes this to County Manager Dominique Dominguez and lets him know that this is the recommendation. He's actually pretty upset about this. He believes Mr. Guerrera is guilty, and he wants to make an example of him. So he does not take Miss Quinn's recommendation. He believes that this man has defrauded and committed a crime and wants him to be let go. So even though she tells him that there's not enough evidence and that he could easily, as a defense, say that, it's all circumstantial, he says, no, we're going to give him what's called a Loudermill hearing, which is the part of due process required to a public employee right before they're removed. They're allowed this hearing, but they're still removed. So he kind of jumped ahead to the last thing before dismissal, and then said that he's going to be dismissed. And so that was the final decision. So there's the case. And I'll post some questions for you guys to discuss. Thank you.